This is a very special place for me. You see, this tree is an old tree. I know it's more than 50 years old because I used to come here more than 50 years ago as a university student. I was a brand new Christian, and I would come here and I'd find this little spot early in the morning, and I would seek the Lord and talk to Him and have fellowship with Him. I would read my Bible. And it was during that time that God did this tremendous work in my life. He gave me vision for what He wanted me to do, for who He wanted me to become. And so I want to ask you a question today in this first devotion. What's your vision? What's your vision for your life, for your family, for your church, for your community? What's your vision? There was a man in the Bible who had a vision. Isaiah chapter 6 says, "In the year of King Uzziah's death, I saw the Lord." You see, Isaiah had a vision of God. And I believe the kind of vision that we need today is the kind of vision that Isaiah had. In fact, it was threefold. First of all, he saw God in all of His power and all of His authority. He saw Him seated upon His throne. And what we need today is to see the God who has all power, all authority, the God who is seated upon His throne. And you know what's wonderful about that? The throne of God is not only the seat of authority and the seat of power, but the throne of God is the throne of grace, according to Hebrews chapter 4. And so we can come because of what Jesus did. You see, I came to this place right here because I had just met Jesus. And when Jesus comes into your life, then He gives you a fresh vision. You can see God. You can know God. You can have fellowship with God. So the first thing we need to see is God in His power and His authority seated upon His throne. But when Isaiah saw the Lord, the angels cried out, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. The whole earth is filled with His glory." When Isaiah saw the holiness of God, there was something else that happened. Isaiah saw himself. You see, first he had an upward vision. Then he had an inward vision. He saw himself in the light of a holy God. Oh, what we need to see is God's holiness today. We need this desperately in this generation. And when we see ourselves in the light of His holiness, we will do what Isaiah did. What did he do? He cried out, "Woe is me, for I'm a man of unclean lips, and I live in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts." When you see Him, when you see His character, His nature, His purity, His holiness, you'll say, "Oh God, have mercy on me. I'm not like Jesus. Make me more like Jesus." You'll humble yourself. And you know what happened when Isaiah humbled himself like that? The angels came from the throne of God, and they brought grace, and they brought forgiveness, and they touched him, and his sins were forgiven. And then he had the third part of his vision. He saw the people around him. He heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" And Isaiah said, "Here am I, send me, send me." You see, early as a Christian, I came to this spot, and I would meet with God, and God would meet with me. And I can remember my heart was so tender, and God was doing something so real in my life. And I can remember crying out saying, "God, here I am, send me, send me." Find a place. Get alone with God. Get to know Him in His character, in His power, in His purity. And then you will get to know Him in His love. And you will see the world around you. You will see a world in need. And you will hear the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" Then you will say, "Here am I. Send me. Send me."